As we were out here reporting on the stabbings, our camera caught the moment a migrant woman suffered a medical emergency. She was unconscious, just kept having seizures, said this migrant who came to her aid but did not want to be identified. The young woman, who they call Dani, has been living in one of these tents steps away from the city's makeshift shelter for weeks. According to those who live with her, they say she was complaining of the cold moments prior to suffering the seizure.
As you guys can see, situations are still, let's just say, a little bit chaotic, especially given the fact that now the migrants are starting to steal from one another. Now, here's the thing. You guys saw that. You guys saw how it was that a young migrant who'd been living in a tent had died of a seizure or had a seizure. We don't really know the actual health situation of her. There's actually a report out there saying that the girl died, but then again, there's also been reports saying that that's actually been pulled off, and that's not the case. So we don't really have any confirmation, but of course, if I make a third video sometime tomorrow afternoon, it will be up. One of the reasons why it is that I'm kind of putting out additional content that I'm making here on Sunday night for Monday and Tuesday is because, well, I've got a lot of things going over the next couple of days. I need you guys to get kind of informed on what's going on, and it was actually a pretty crazy weekend. So make sure you guys stick around for the full video as I explain exactly what is going on here and exactly why this right here was to be expected, anticipated, especially given the fact that we have a completely open border. And now we've got people just, I don't know, just existing, just to be existing now. And what I mean by existing is just people who aren't doing anything, meaning that a lot of these migrants, especially those who came before July the 21st, those who are not getting any form of work visas or anything like that, which of course is the real reason why they're here, or that's what they're saying, because they're looking for work. And of course, we've talked about this before on several occasions. I'm not okay with this, especially given the fact that jobs are being taken from actual native-born Americans. And to go on top of this, not only are jobs being taken away from native-born Americans, but there are actual, let's just say, poor people who are being forced to work two jobs. You know who I'm talking about, who are actually being replaced. And at the exact same time, they kind of need that hand up given their situation. I said hand up, not hand out. Sean Fitzgerald did a video on this, I think, yesterday. I'm going to give you guys that video or put it in the description box. He talks more about the, let's just say, the stealing of benefits section where it is. I'm going to be talking more about the actual security issue and, of course, what to expect going forward because of this. So, at this moment in time, you've got this situation in Randall Island. Randall Island, by the way, has been a problem for months. It's been a problem, especially when it comes to the migrants. It's been a lot of brawls, been a lot of fights. And, of course, as the weather continues to get worse, as the temperature begins to drop, and, of course, the month of February is on its way, the coldest month of the year in the United States, especially in places like New York and Chicago. And I did make a video earlier today on Chicago, too, about the situation involving them having panic attacks. The situation is obviously not going to get any better anytime soon. So what exactly is going on in these shelters? Well, let's play the rest of this.
Camera involves a woman being carried away after suffering some sort of medical incident in the freezing cold.
This comes after a man was stabbed yesterday. Jessica Formoso has the latest.
A police presence was visible tonight on Randall's Island, a day after a man was stabbed in the neck. Cell phone video given to us by a migrant shows the chaos. This woman had just walked in when she saw the victim screaming for help. The man was stabbed. He was screaming, saying he was stabbed in the neck by one of the security guards. She did not want to be identified, but says a group of Venezuelan men got into some type of argument that escalated into a fight. Security got involved. You can see them in the video wearing the yellow vests. 18 people were arrested.
So 18 were arrested. Now, why in the world would 18 people be arrested? You had a stabbing, you saw the cell phone video, obviously it's chaos, people were getting into fist fights, people were getting into brawls. It's kind of like what I said earlier. You got people fighting over a place in line, and of course now you've got people who are also being transferred in from other shelters. And of course, when that right there happens and people don't know one another, obviously paranoia is going to begin to seep in. Now guys, before I comment on this situation or comment on what it was that you just saw, we're going to be trying something different. The clips are going to be a little bit shorter and we're going to add a little bit more commentary for the time being. Now, here's something else too that needs to be said. This right here came from Fox. There's another one that came from NBC. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to play the first half of the one that you saw from NBC because it kind of goes to the whole idea of a media manipulation. Let's roll this and then we'll comment on them both because Obviously, they're reported just a little bit differently.
Of events under investigation on Randall's Island tonight, a fight that turned into a melee outside the migrant shelter there. And wait until you hear who's accused of stabbing an asylum seeker. Here's News 4's Ida Siegel.
Arrest after arrest on Randall's Island this afternoon. Multiple people placed in handcuffs, all of them migrants from the shelter that's set up here. Cell phone video shows a man struggling on the ground as officers surround him.
I need everybody to back up.
More video shows another man desperate to get past the police, yelling, "My brother, my brother."
Oh, it's Randall.
His 24-year-old brother had just been stabbed and was being taken away in an ambulance.
Now, really quick, the security guard thing has not been fully confirmed yet, so I can't really say that this was actually the case. And I just know that there's a lot of, let's just say there's multiple outlets, an NBC outlet, and of course a Fox outlet that are reporting this, but it actually has not been confirmed yet because there's still a lot of articles out there saying that it's not been, let's just say it's not ironclad at this moment in time. However, it definitely seems to be the case. Now, you're going to hear me mention this a little bit later on in the video, talking about this a little bit more, but not so much in the sense like it's concrete or ironclad. But the fact is that this has not been fully confirmed as of today. But if it does, in fact, get confirmed, there'll be a third video out to go along with this one here. Let's go ahead and keep going. Now, I understand the guy going, my brother, or mi hermano, mi hermano. I don't really know Spanish, so please, if you speak Spanish, please correct me in the comment section. I'm technically taking German because I plan to go to Europe, and I want to go see some World War II stuff and whatnot, but I'll learn Spanish probably shortly after that. The situation is this right here. You've got migrants right now who are actually getting into it with other migrants, and you've got gangs who are also getting into it with migrants too, and of course, you've also got migrants creating gangs themselves. So, what are they doing? Well, obviously, they're getting into fist fights. They're fighting over the line spots. These people are not exactly what we call working at this moment in time. As I said before, they're simply existing to be existing. They, quite frankly, should not be here. They need to be back across the border, and they need to come through here the right way. Yes, I know YouTube could very, very well hit me with the yellow dollar sign. If they do that, then this video will also be put on my Rumble channel, which, of course, is the backup for me, of course, for videos that don't get monetized, get demonetized, or possibly get excessive copyright claims, like when WGN or the WWE puts a copyright claim in, when I'm talking about the mainstream media and how it is they're using a pro wrestling model to manipulate that. Now, that by the way, let's go and get to it. So as you guys obviously saw, NBC tried to take a little bit more of a different approach on this. They obviously tried to be a little bit more bleeding heart about the situation. But we're going to play the rest of the Fox report, then we're going to follow with the NBC report. Now, here's the situation. Some people are saying, or at least the news outlets are saying, that a security guard stabbed one of the migrants. That right there may be true. However, at the same time, we don't have the full information of whether it was self-defense. All we know is that the situation every day devolves into brawls. And of course, you've got people out there who, quite frankly, look at this situation and look what the hell's going on. And they're not surprised that people are telling them, hey, man, you might want to sleep with one eye open or whatnot. This right here is one of the problems that you have with these migrant shelters. You're not going to be able to patrol all of them, especially given the fact that the police departments are already overstretched. And to go on top of that, Mayor Eric Adams is cutting the next 5 rookie classes of NYPD officers. Now, think about this really quick. Nobody wants to lose lives. Nobody wants to nobody wants to lose anybody to natural causes as well. But the police department, who else could be affected by these budget cuts? Oh, yeah, that's right, fire and rescue, EMS. You see, if somebody gets hurt or somebody gets injured, or maybe if the injury is actually serious or could be serious, you know what you do? You call an ambulance, people show up, they take them in, they take them to the hospital, try to save their life. Nobody wants to see anybody die, and nobody wants to see anybody get injured. Now, the situation in Randall's Island obviously has been bad for a while. Sean talks about in his video, which I will link in the description box. But the thing is, it's right here. These people should have known better. If they're going to be a sanctuary city or take a bunch of people in, they need to be ready for something to actually happen. The whole sanctuary city thing, in my opinion, is nothing more than just a voting, nothing more than it's a way to pander to voters, especially voters who are Hispanic. And now that you've got extremely cold weather, and not just extremely cold weather, but now you've got a bunch of people who are huddled up, who don't know one another, or automatically going to get paranoid of one another. Next thing you know, factions are going to form, gangs are going to form. Next thing you know, people are going to start fighting over certain spots in line. Now, before we go any further, let's go ahead and play this next section, and we'll come back on the other side.
They call this place the death shelter, said Angel, who arrived in New York Friday morning. He was placed here at Randall's Island, but says from the moment he walked in, people told him to watch his back. Before something happens to me, I'd rather be somewhere else. I'm going to ask to be transferred to another shelter or if they can get me on a flight to another state. Migrants we spoke to say they sleep with one eye open and one eye shut, fearing they will be attacked. This stabbing comes less than 2 weeks after a 24-year-old man was stabbed to death inside this same shelter. We reached out to City Hall asking if they are aware of how unsafe some migrants feel, but we have not heard back.
Now, you just heard what that guy said, and I'm trying to be compassionate about this. But the best way to be compassionate about this situation is simply to say, dude, you need to go ahead and go on back. Like, you really and truly don't need to be here, especially at this moment in time. As I said before, those migrants who came here before July the 21st, those migrants, they started getting benefits. Benefits, by the way, they didn't deserve. Benefits, by the way, they shouldn't get. And of course, we've done several videos on that. But anybody who's coming here beyond July the 21st is just simply existing in the streets, meaning that we have to actually take care of them, or the taxpayers of the city of New York got to take care of them. Now, granted, I understand a lot of New Yorkers voted for this. They voted for Joe Biden. They voted for Eric Adams. But still at the same time, though, you're draining your overall city's resources. You should not be doing this. What you need to do is you need to put these people back on a bus and send them back. But the nerve and the smugness of this guy to turn right back around and say, well, maybe I should request a flight out of here. No. You shouldn't have came here to begin with, dude. You're asking the taxpayers to take care of this, okay? That right there is pretty selfish and pretty daggone smug. Like I said before, I am trying to be compassionate about this. Let's look at the NBC report one more time, or the rest of it.
This man did not want his face shown on camera, but he says he saw two men get into an argument inside the shelter. A security guard asked them to take it outside, and that's when things escalated and more people got involved. He says he saw a security guard take out a knife and stab a migrant in the neck. Police could not confirm a security guard was involved, but they did say the victim was stabbed in the neck.
Do you feel scared?
Well, I don't know, but I don't see nothing, but...
This man tells us he did not see the fight, but he says fights do happen here from time to time, often over theft accusations.
Try to take the stuff, the other people, and
Stealing.
just stealing.
Police say in all 18 people were arrested, but it's still unclear what role they all played in this melee or how it began. The man with a knife who attacked someone is still at large, and that victim is in the hospital. Reporting from Randall's Island, Ida Siegel, News 4, New York.
This right here is ultimately what happens. However, guys, we're not done. You see, Fox went out there and they got another report. Of course, the report that they got this time, the one that you're about to see, this right here absolutely sickens me because, I mean, just the smugness of people who, quite frankly, did not do any research on the country, the weather, or what the hell was going on here before they decided to just come right across the border, because the Biden administration, as we know, is extremely incompetent and very, very much inept. Just the smugness here. And not just the smugness, but the situation itself is enough to make everybody's heads explode.
Freezing weather, another day migrants are spending out in the cold.
And it's not just at the reticketing center in the East Village. Fox 5's Jessica Formosa shows us where else they're waiting in line.
Another cold day in New York City, but the Arctic temperatures not keeping migrants from standing on long lines for hours, some even spending the night, all to receive shelter and services.
I got here 8 o'clock last night, and I sleep there until this hour of the day. Hace mucho frío.
It's really cold, said Catherine, who showed up at 4 a.m. with her.
Why in the world do you have a 4-year-old child out here in the freezing cold? I mean, don't you understand the risk factors? Now, look, let me back this up, all right, before we go completely off the rails. It is cold. It is freezing. Everybody here beyond July the 21st, they are just simply existing. They're not working. They're trying to get a visa, which quite frankly, I don't think they should get. They should go right back across the border. Next to go on top of this, right, you're bringing your kids across, opening them up for human trafficking. I mean, we've already had a lot of kids get killed. I don't have the actual numbers on me right now who during this entire situation crossing the Rio Grande. Hell, there was a little girl who drowned the other day. You've got this right here going on. You're bringing them to New York City. Okay, you're bringing them to an extremely hostile city, an extremely hostile area of the city, and the harsh cold. You've got nowhere to stay. Paranoia is seeping in. Gangs are being created. Migrant gangs are being created inside these facilities. People are paranoid, and they're willing to kill for the other said benefits or others' belongings. This type of stuff, of course, does happen. This right here type of stuff is definitely a risk. You have opened this child and even the other kids up to all kinds of extremely bad possibilities. Not to mention the fact, like I said before, it's freaking cold and sickness is obviously running amok. But wait, there's more.
Hay mucha gente.
There are a lot of people and only 200 spots a day. You need the ID, so I have to get up early to get a spot. The Ecuadorian mother trying to keep her son warm, rubbing his feet as she waits to get inside this city office in Brooklyn to obtain an ID NYC card.
No tener dinero.
To not have any money, no job, it's complicated. And so you end up on the street. And one can wait for hours out here just to get inside and be told to come back.
ID or a passport with a photograph. And I didn't come in here with no passport.
But there is a misconception that an ID NYC card will automatically lead to a job. In order to work legally, one must be granted a federal work authorization, which is a long legal process. Migrant advocates worry that misinformation coupled with the desperation we see out here is the reason these migrants are willing to risk their own health in the bitter cold. The city says it's under a code blue. With these dangerous temperatures and more snow on the way, no one should be sleeping on the street.
By law, we have to find places for people so that they can be in out of the cold. So we will, of course, do that for our migrant brothers and sisters also.
So you've got people who thought that they were going to get a work visa. And as I've said before, there's no more work visas to hand out. It takes a very long time to get them, which is kind of what I've been saying, that these people are just simply here to exist. They're just simply here to just freeze in the cold and live on the taxpayer's dime. A lot of these people, by the way, probably got duped, as if to say they got duped into coming. But of course, some people just came regardless, not caring. And some people, just wanted to break the law. The thing is this right here. At this moment in time, you've got a lot of people who are just simply, like I said before, just simply existing. And as they're existing, gangs start to form, paranoia seeps in. Sanitation factor is ridiculous because obviously New York cut their sanitation department. They've also cut their police force as far as recruitment is concerned. And I'm pretty sure fire and EMS is next. All to take care of some migrants because these people wanted to pander to a certain base of people who needed to come in here the right way. That right there is what we're looking at right now. Now, I let that one run just a little bit longer, okay? And here's why. The thing that I took out of this, and of course, like I said in this very beginning of the video, and I've said over and over again, a lot of these people are just simply here to exist. As if to say they're not really doing anything. They're just collecting charity at this moment in time. A lot of taxpayer dollars are going to pay for this, costing the city of New York, also costing the U.S. taxpayer, because of course you know good and daggone well that Biden is going to sweep in and try to help the situation out, probably try to give a bailout of some sorts. But still at the same time, though, these people are just simply existing. A lot of these people, by the way, I think got duped into coming. Now, granted, I've said this on several occasions. These people should, of course, stay right where they were and come through the right way. Actually stay somewhere like, say, I don't know, maybe Guatemala, Mexico. I mean, it's really bad that, of course, the Remain in Mexico policy is no longer standing at this moment in time. But still at the same time, these people right now are out here sitting on the street. And of course, they should never have came. And I guess you could say it's their own fault. But still at the same time, you can't expect all of them to be, let's just say, I wouldn't say, I'm trying to put this the right way. You can't expect all of them to have came with extremely bad intentions, even though they should have stayed across the border. The fact of the matter is that these people are now freezing. They're cold. They brought their kids, stupidly, by the way. And now their kids are getting sick. And now they're beginning to get hacked up inside these centers. And, of course, gangs are starting to form. Paranoia is going through the roof. The shelters probably stink. The sanitary situation is probably horrible. They're not showering. They're not cleaning themselves. And, of course, it's costing the taxpayer a lot of money. You guys can obviously now see exactly how weak, inept, and incompetent this current administration is. But, of course, they'll blame Greg Abbott for simply sending them across to these areas where they said they were welcome. Because Democrat politicians love to pander now, the people that they have pandered to. A lot of them, well, let's just say a lot of them are pretty bad off, and they're probably going to remain bad off. And obviously the situation is going to get a lot worse, especially once the summer comes around, and then you're really going to see some serious problems. With that right there being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and close this one out. This right here will be the second video of the day. I'm going to try to get probably 2 videos out on Tuesday. I'm not going to be at the house. I may be able to make them tomorrow morning, but of course I'm probably going to be busy tomorrow as well. It's going to be kind of a wonky week, at least the first 2 days. With that right there being said, guys, tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you guys think about the situation. Give your thoughts on the video itself. Rate my performance if you want to. You guys can follow me on Facebook. Right here is the page. Just type in Claymore, John Claymore. You guys can also follow me on Twitter, also known as X. And at the same time, you guys can also follow me on Rumble as well. By the way, make sure you guys, if you do see a video through Facebook, make sure you guys hit the like button on the video, on the actual, not just the video, but the actual Facebook page, the link itself, like the actual post. So that way it'll garner through the algorithm. With that right there being said, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sound off in the comment section, and please hit the notifications bell, cut on all the notifications so that way you guys are notified when my videos post. And I'll see you guys later.